He set off fireworks outside a veteran's home, so I gave him a war he couldn't escape. You know those nights where one choice changes everything? I never meant for it to go that far. But when someone deliberately terrorizes veterans with PTSD, maybe they deserve what comes next. It started on Memorial Day. I was visiting my uncle at the VA home, the one who basically raised me after my dad didn't come back from his second tour. Uncle Mike's hands were shaking so bad he could barely hold his coffee. They were at it again last night, he whispered. The explosions felt like I was back there. I knew exactly who they were. The college kids who'd moved into the rental house behind the VA facility. They'd been setting off illegal fireworks almost every weekend, despite multiple complaints, despite knowing what it did to the vets. That night, I parked across the street and watched. Sure enough, around 11 p.m., there he was. This lanky guy in a backwards cap, laughing as he lit fuse after fuse. His friends were filming it for social media, like it was all some hilarious joke. I sat there gripping my steering wheel until my knuckles went white. Then I did something I hadn't done since my own service days. I started planning an op. For 2 weeks, I studied his routine. He worked at that hipster coffee shop downtown, drove a lifted Jeep with those angry eye headlight covers, lived alone in his parents' investment property, always slept with his window cracked open. The first night, I used an old military sound simulator app on a Bluetooth speaker, just distant explosions and gunfire, barely loud enough to wake him. The next night, I added helicopter sounds, getting progressively louder. By the third night, I had 4 speakers positioned around his house. I watched through my scope as he started jumping at small noises, checking his locks repeatedly, installing security cameras that wouldn't help him because I wasn't really there, just the sounds were. Week 2, I stepped it up, replaced his wind chimes with ones I'd modified to sound like shell casings hitting concrete, added subliminal bass frequencies that vibrated his windows just enough to keep him from deep sleep, left military boot prints in his garden that disappeared into nothing. His social media went dark. He started calling in sick to work. I heard through neighborhood gossip that he was seeing a therapist for sudden onset anxiety and paranoia. The final touch was a single spent artillery simulator, completely harmless but military grade, left on his front porch. The message was clear. I could get this close anytime. 2 days later, a moving truck showed up. I watched him load it in the middle of the day, head on a swivel, jumping at every car that drove past. I didn't feel the satisfaction I expected, just a hollow sort of understanding. Now he knew what it was like to live with those sounds in your head, to never feel safe in your own home. Uncle Mike called me yesterday. The fireworks finally stopped, he said. Been sleeping better. That's good, I told him, staring at my garage workbench where the speakers still sat.